Namaste, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Life Lessons from the Upanishads. I'm your host, Dr. Surendra, and today we're stepping into a world that's shaped us since the dawn of time, the world of stories. Think about it. From childhood bedtime tales to the quiet narratives we whisper to ourselves at night, stories are everywhere. But they're more than just words. They're the threads that weave our lives, the mirrors that reflect our souls, and the keys that unlock our growth. In this episode, we're exploring the role of stories in personal growth. We'll unravel the tales we tell ourselves, the ones we hear from others, and the ones we share with the world. We'll see how stories shape our understanding and how we can use them to build a life of meaning and resilience. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads and sprinkled with modern insights, this journey is about transformation, yours and mine. So, grab a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's dive into the magic of stories together. The stories we tell ourselves. Let's start close to home, inside our own minds. Every day, we're the authors of a silent story, a running narrative about who we are and what the world is like. I'm not good enough, you might whisper after a mistake. Or maybe, I can handle anything after a win. These internal tales aren't just fleeting thoughts. They're the scripts that shape our beliefs, our actions, and our lives. Think of it like this. If you tell yourself a story of failure, I always mess up, you might hesitate to try new things. But flip the page to every stumble teaches me, and suddenly you're stepping forward with courage. The Upanishads hint at this power in the Bṛhadāraṇyaka Upanishad. As a man thinks, so he becomes. Our inner stories are like seeds. What we plant grows into our reality. The beauty is, we're not stuck with the first draft. We can rewrite. Caught yourself in a negative loop? Pause. Ask, is this true? What's another way to see this? Maybe that failure becomes a lesson, that weakness a strength in disguise. It's not about pretending. Psychologists call this narrative reframing, and it's a proven path to growth. The Muṇḍaka Upanishad reminds us, by truth, the self is attained. When we craft stories rooted in truth and kindness, we bloom. So, what story are you telling yourself today? Let's hold that thought as we turn to the tales that come from beyond us. The stories we hear. Now, let's widen the circle. Stories don't just live in our heads. They flow to us from books, movies, friends, and strangers. These are the tales we hear. And they're like wind shaping a tree, subtle yet profound. A child hearing the Mahabharata learns courage from Arjuna. A friend's tale of overcoming loss sparks hope. Even a film's hero can nudge us toward boldness. These stories do more than entertain. They mold our values, broaden our horizons. Research shows that reading fiction boosts empathy. When we step into another's shoes through a story, we see the world anew. The Upanishads knew this too. In the Chāndogya Upanishad, Uddalaka tells his son Śvetāśvatara, Tat tvam asi, thou art that. Stories remind us we are connected, that every culture, every perspective is a thread in the same tapestry. But here's the catch, not all stories lift us. A steady diet of gloom, think endless news cycles, can weigh us down. So, we get to choose. Surround yourself with tales that inspire, maybe the resilience of the Pandavas, or a biography of someone who defeated the odds. The Kaṭha Upanishad says, the wise choose the good over the pleasant. Pick stories that spark light, and watch your world expand. What's a story you've heard lately that stirred your soul? Hold on to that as we explore the power of sharing our own. The stories we share. Let's turn the lens outward now. to the stories we share. Have you ever told someone about a tough day and felt lighter, or shared a triumph and seen their eyes light up? That's the magic of storytelling. It's not just for us, it's a bridge to others. When we voice our experiences, we process them, heal them, and connect. Sharing isn't always easy. It takes vulnerability. But it's worth it. Narrative therapy, a modern healing tool, shows that telling our stories helps us make sense of pain and find strength. The Upanishads echo this in their dialogues, like Yajnavalkya's talks with Maitri, where sharing wisdom deepens understanding. The self is known through teaching. The texts suggest our stories are gifts to ourselves and others. And here's the ripple. Your tale of bouncing back from failure might inspire someone else to try again. I've seen it on this channel. Your comments about overcoming doubt light fires in others. The Taittiriya Upanishad says, "From this self, all beings are born." When we share, we birth connection, hope, healing. So, what's a story you've shared that changed someone or you? Let's carry that forward as we uncover the deeper power of story itself. The power of story to shape our understanding. Now, let's zoom out to the big picture. Stories aren't just threads. They're the loom that weaves our understanding of ourselves and the world. Ever faced a mess of emotions, grief, joy, confusion, and found clarity in a tale? Maybe a parable from the Upanishads or a friend's anecdote gave you a map through the chaos. That's the power of story. It's how we make sense of life. Psychologists say stories are our brain's language. They frame our place in the cosmos. The Īśā Upanishad declares, all this is full, all that is full. Stories show us that fullness, our ties to others, our purpose amid the storm. Think of Nachikéta in the Kaṭha Upanishad, questioning death itself. His story isn't just ancient, it's a mirror for our own search for meaning. And meaning matters. Studies link a sense of purpose to longer, happier lives. Stories, whether from scripture, family, or fiction, offer that anchor. They whisper, you're not alone. Your struggles have a shape. The Upanishads call this Vidya, knowledge that frees us. So, what story helps you understand your world? Let's hold that close as we see how to wield stories for growth. Using stories for personal growth. Finally, let's bring it all together. How do we use stories to grow? It starts with intention. Look at your life as a story. What's the plot so far? The hero's journey, maybe trials, lessons, triumphs. The Upanishads urge self-inquiry. Who am I? In the Muṇḍaka Upanishad, use stories to explore that. Write about a challenge you faced or reflect on a value you hold dear. What emerges is your truth. Stories also teach resilience. Made a mistake? Tell it as a chapter, not the whole book. Research shows reframing setbacks as growth builds grit, echoed in the Bhagavad Gita's call to act without attachment to outcomes. And inspiration, craft a vision story. Where do you want to be? The Śvetāśvatara Upanishad says, the self is the light. Let your stories shine that light forward. Practically, try this. Journal a story from your week. What did it teach you? Or read a tale that uplifts, say, the Upanishads. And ask, how can I live this? Small steps, big shifts. The result? A life richer, fuller, more yours. How will you use stories to grow? Let's wrap this up with that in mind. Conclusion. And here we are, at the close of our tale, or maybe the start of yours. We've seen how the stories we tell ourselves shape our beliefs, how the ones we hear widen our hearts, and how sharing them heals us. We've uncovered their power to give meaning and learned to wield them for growth. This is Life Lessons from the Upanishads, at its core, ancient wisdom for modern lives. I'm Dr. Surendra, and I invite you to take one step today. Pick a story, yours or another's, and reflect on its lesson. Share it below. What tale drives your growth? If this moved you, like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more. Let's keep weaving stories of light together. Until next time, may your narrative be one of peace and purpose. Namaste.